Hi, and welcome to the Mind Performance Health podcast or video, depending where you're looking at this content from. My name is Michael Pritchard. I'm very excited to sit down and talk with you today on all things how to optimize and maximize the results towards your body composition, your performance, your strength, vitality. This is where, as a business with Mind Performance Health, we help a lot of our clients and can be of value towards. Now, we have a fantastic topic which we're going to cover today. And actually, this was a topic that was covered or asked more so with one of our clients at our facility. So if you're not aware, we have our Mind Performance Health one-on-one personal training facility where we look after everything to do with training, nutrition, accountability, support with our clients. And we have a range of clients we work with, everyone from athletes, physique competitors, and those that want to, just maximize their lifestyle. So that's what we do. And this question was actually prompted with a client, and it was about optimizing training nutrition. So basically the question was, is there, interventions or things we can do in the training window, specifically with nutrition or supplementation, that can enhance the results that you're chasing towards whatever outcome or goal it is, whether that's fat loss, muscle growth, strength, etc. And the simple answer to that is yes, absolutely. There are definitely things we can do. And in this video or episode, we're going to cover the things and just basically give you some awareness, some knowledge and application you may be able to use towards, getting your goals a little bit quicker, breaking plateaus, and just being more aware with the boxes that need to be ticked to further your results, basically. Now, do keep in mind, everything I'm going to discuss is for information purposes only. I do recommend you go seek professional advice whenever doing anything to do with your own personal health interventions. It's very important to do so. So once again, this is for information purposes only. Now, with that question of, is there anything we can do to maximize our training, performance, recovery, and ultimately get our results a little bit quicker, whatever we're chasing? Like I said, the simple answer to that is absolutely there is. Keep in mind, though, is it the first area you should look at? That really becomes the next question, because ultimately what I see from experience, being a practitioner in the field, is that, everyone will look at supplementation or these small little details that can definitely make a difference. However, they haven't built up a really solid foundation. And what I mean by a solid foundation is really nailing their values, behaviors, habits, consistency, compliancy. Those things really need to be nailed first, I believe. In most cases, there are some cases where all we have to work with is the training window, especially if it's, busy corporate executives or, sometimes with athletes. We have to use what we have available to us, timeframes. But in most cases, you really need to nail down the basics, okay? The foundation, good behaviors, being able to follow a plan, having good awareness of the food you're eating, good nutrition literacy. These are things that are extremely important. And then, yes, ticking all the other boxes. And do realize I view this as a game of ticking boxes to get results, or you can think of it as a percentage game. Nailing your workout nutrition may give you another 10, 20% or another couple of boxes ticked towards achieving your goals quicker. Now, in the conversation of workout nutrition and things that we can do, firstly, after you've got the foundation right, your behaviors, your habits, able to follow a plan, be aware of the food and the impact of, once again, consistency and compliancy, the next thing you need to understand is get to know the outcome you are looking for. And what do I mean by that? Is it the goal of fat loss? Is it the goal of more endurance? Is it the goal of more hypertrophy, more muscle gain? Be very clear of what you want as the outcome. There can be overlap at times as well, but be very, very clear of what you want to achieve. That is going to influence your decision around what needs to be done around that workout window, because each of these outcomes, they give a different stimulus. They require different recovery protocols. They have a different impact on the body, and the nutrition interventions or supplement interventions can support that process but you have to be very specific of, once again, what you're trying to achieve. Then you can be more specific with the nutrition or supplementation interventions. So firstly, be clear of what you want to do. Because as an example, and if we use just strength training as an example here, and I'll use a bit of endurance racing in that too, someone who's trying to lift, 1 rep max in the gym, like trying to lift as heavy as they can for 1 rep, or 1 to 5 reps as an average, and the average range of intensity. There is a big difference of the energy demands from trying to do that versus someone who's working, in the lower intensity, higher rep ranges. Okay, there might be more demand for carbohydrates in those ranges due to glycogen depletion than what there is in those lower ranges. Not saying that there is no demand in the lower ranges. Do understand everything works on a scale. So firstly, know your goal, know your stimulus that you're creating, and then from there, you can support that process. Another thing I would keep in mind, and this is a very simple one and a very, very impactful tip, is basically hydration. I see a lot of people, a lot of clients and such, when they first come in, they're usually not drinking enough water. And, we'll always ask the question with my staff, with my trainers, how much water do you drink? And the answer always would be not enough. Sometimes not even known how much is consumed in a day. Hydration is extremely important for performance, metabolism, recovery, decreasing the stress response, digestion. There is a lot of things that can be, moved in a positive manner by improving your hydration levels. Okay, so drinking more water. That is a very simple one to do. You will perform better in the gym if you nail that. It gives you the potential to, and you will have better recovery and ultimately better progress towards your outcome just by nailing hydration. Then becomes the question, okay, how much should I drink now? Everyone's a little bit different. Everyone has different sweat rates. Everyone has, different kind of labor intensive jobs, whether they're more active, less active. And basically your workout can dictate your hydration levels too. There's a difference if someone's doing a boxing session versus, a powerlifting kind of style workout in terms of how much sweat is lost and how much hydration is lost from the body. So you really need to understand what you're doing. Now, a good marker that I like to work with is ladies, 3+ liters, right? 3+ liters. And for the guys, 4+ liters. All right. That's kind of a baseline that I like to work with water intake and spacing that throughout the day, usually drinking a little bit more while training to make sure you are hydrated, because that can impact your performance if you're dehydrated, right? Your blood will go to the skin to cool down. It won't go towards your muscles while working out. You lose, obviously, blood flow also from the digestive system. So you need to be smart with your hydration and make sure you can get the best output you can. Now, those are the ranges that I like to start with and work with, okay? And then from there, you can adjust things to suit, once again, your style of what workout and lifestyle you have. And for some of you, that may seem like a lot of water intake, right? You're hearing 3+ liters for the ladies. You're like, wow, I hardly get 1 liter. And for the guys, sometimes we see up to 1 liter as well. And you're just leaving a lot left out on the table. And that's one easy fix. It's not too expensive to achieve that goal of hitting your water target. Okay. It can be hard for some as well if you're not used to it, but that will do you wonders, more so than buying any supplementation or doing anything too fancy around the workout window. All right. So hydration is a big tip and one that may you not think of as much. And a good tip with that is like what I personally do, because I'm busy during the day, obviously running Mind Performance Health and doing my thing, is I have a 4-liter bottle with me. And that's what I use, right? I make sure I finish that daily. Obviously, I'll get residual, with my coffees and stuff like that. I'll get a little bit of hydration in with that as well, because they're, black coffees with water. So I get a little bit of residual water with that too, but I do have that baseline 4 liters that I work from. And that's one easy way to have. So make sure you get a bottle. What I would recommend, especially if you struggle to keep track, is a bottle up to your target, and then make sure you can finish that in a day. Okay, so that is one easy tip to do. But like I said, this is an extremely important thing to stay hydrated. You'll just feel better, you operate better, and ultimately you'll have quicker progress towards your goal because you are ticking more boxes by doing so. Now, when it comes to nutrition, what do you eat to, get your goals a little bit quicker and have better workout performance and such. Now, once again, different stimuluses, different goals are going to have different demands on the body and different needs. So I'm going to give you a bit of a basic overview, give you some awareness, and then you can take that away as you wish and have a bit of knowledge that you can, apply. So basically there's some foundations right now. If we're talking, for most things, if we start with protein intake for most things, now we do know, muscle's great for, protein's great for building muscle. Yes. It's important for things like satiety, enzyme creation, important, like you'll get less fatigue as well due to amino acid supply. Now, eating protein every 3 to 5 hours is a great marker to work from. Okay. Once again, it's going to give you that steady amino acid supply. You'll be put less into a catabolic state, more into what's called synthesis. So we're muscle building. So 3 to 5 hours of consumption of protein is usually what I recommend. Obviously, the amount of protein will change depending on the client, depending on the gender as well, and depending on possibly the lean mass or just think simply how much muscle you have versus how much muscle you don't have. Okay. Once again, it all works on a scale. But protein, 3 to 5 hours space between in a day is a fantastic baseline to work from. Meal wise, usually I would recommend to have, 3 meals absolutely minimum, but can go up to 6 meals a day plus. But once again, it's got to be specific to you, fit your lifestyle on that as well. I know with intermittent fasting, sometimes 2 meals are done. Okay. Though when we're talking about performance, I do think getting that amino acid supply every 3 to 5 hours is a fantastic thing to do from experience. Okay. Working with clients, that is, and also from myself. But at the end of the day, if you apply by the basic principles, you can still get towards your outcome. But we're here to talk about how to speed that process up, get the best results, and minimize, like I said at the start, speed it up, minimize the time it takes to achieve them. So protein every 3 to 5 hours is a great place to start with. Good amount of amino acid supply and putting you less in a catabolic, more into synthesis, more into building. Then if we have a look at the workout window, okay, now the workout window, you may be training in the mornings, you may be training in the afternoons. You need to have a good structure around your food for the day because that is going to influence your performance. You need to have good structure with your hydration plan. That's going to influence your performance. But when we look at the training window, let's break it up into 3 kind of subcategories. So we have the training window. We have what's called pre-workout, intra-workout, and post-workout. Now, pre-workout obviously is what we're going to consume before the workout itself. Intra-workout is going to be consumed obviously while we are working out. And then post-workout is what's going to be consumed after the workout. And all these certain areas, much like the rest of your day, is going to influence your workout. What you're going to get out of your workout, how you're going to recover, what your performance is going to be like. And then once again, ultimately, how quick or slow you are going to move towards the goal that you're trying to achieve. Now, there is a difference, like I said, with the stimulus you're doing and the demands on that stimulus of what's needed to support that process. But if we keep the conversation up as fat loss, what we will find is that if we keep it up with the fat loss goal, beforehand, if you keep it to more protein, fats, okay, so more protein and fats, and, minimizing the carbohydrates, that actually may be more beneficial towards fat loss. Okay. If there's one thing we see in today's day and age is if there's an overconsumption of one macro form, it's an overconsumption of carbohydrates. Okay. And that can kind of lead to, blood sugar issues, a little bit more insulin resistance, spilling more over into body fat. It can play a factor into those roles. Now, energy balance is always going to be key and king, and applying consistency and compliancy is always going to be the rule to get any outcome. And what I mean by that is that's important, right? To achieve your goal is abiding by that principle of energy balance, whether you're in a positive energy balance, a negative energy balance, that can make you, put on weight if you're positive, can make you lose weight if you're negative, fantastic. And then the macro manipulation is where we can, dictate sometimes what that weight may be, whether that's more muscle, less fat, a little bit more fat, a little bit less muscle, etc. So in terms of body composition or fat loss, protein and fats before your workout may be more beneficial. Okay. That may lead more into, like I said, more fat loss for that workout as an outcome. All right. Now, the types of foods you eat before is also very important. When I say fats, I'm not talking about going out and getting, 3 big avocados, eating them. You're going to have a lot of digestive stress. One thing before working out is that we don't want too much digestive stress or digestive load. That's going to impact your performance while working out. You'll be probably a little bit more inflamed as well while working out due to having that food, that gut volume in there. Now, and the process of breaking it down. And remember, like I said, while working out, you're going to lose blood flow, digestive capabilities, so that food can cause irritation. Before the workout, we want to, I usually recommend 1 to 3 hours before the workout to eat a meal. Like I said, proteins in there. We've got some amino acids. The type, maybe depending if you do eat meat, might be a type of meat. If you are vegetarian, it might be amino acids. It might be a protein shake. Now, we need just a steady form of protein in there. Just make sure digestively it sits well. Then if we move over, and in this case, we're looking at the fat loss outcome mainly, you may have, a type of fats in there. Now, you may have something like coconut oil. Coconut oil will give you a bit of energy while working out. You may have, a bit of ghee, a bit of butter, but not too much fats, right? Once again, that can take longer to break down in the digestive system and cause irritation. You could use some forms of like cashews or nuts, which can raise dopamine, which would be fantastic for working out as well, because that's going to be your drive. And we want to lower serotonin too. And that's where, lower carbohydrates beforehand may be beneficial too, to not drive up serotonin. Like if you eat a lot of carbs, you get that serotonin increase, you don't feel like doing much at all. And if you get to the gym, like in that space, it'd be harder to ramp up into the session. So being smart with the types of food as well that you eat before can be extremely beneficial. Once again, in ticking a few more boxes to make sure you get the most out of your workout. The other thing to keep in mind as well is that with doing a small amount of carbs, it may be more beneficial for fat loss, but may not be as beneficial towards performance. Now, if you want to get in there, perform the best, push yourself, yes, maybe having a little bit more carbs before training may be beneficial as well. Okay. And this is also going to be individual preferred. I mean, those that find their, pretty low body fat levels, they can tolerate carbs well, they've got a high threshold of carbohydrates. Carbs before, perfect. Go get them in and you'll perform good, fantastic, have good pumps, have good workouts, your performance will be high. So do understand what I talk on. There's a spectrum of where it may be applied. And this is why things need to be tailored towards the client. And the other thing as well, you need to keep in mind is remember this saying, because it's extremely important and it's not done enough. You can't manage what you don't measure. Okay. You can't manage what you don't measure. And I see this a lot. What I mean by that, people will make interventions with their health and fitness, but not really track if those interventions are working, or not know what to track if those interventions are working optimally or not. Now, in the case of fat loss, some markers that you may use is body tape, scale weight, photos, skin folds, DEXA scans. There's an assortment of methods that you can use to track progress. And I do recommend that you set up with any intervention, whether it's looking at optimizing your workout window or anything you change, you have a measurement to know if it's actually working or not. You have a KPI. So it's important with that. And obviously how you feel as well. Do you feel more energy while working out? Do you feel better? Do you get more pumps? Do you, have more pop while working out? Is your recovery better? These are all questions that need to be asked to make sure that you are getting the most out of what you've done. All right. And then if not, you can make decisions to make changes, and to make better decisions, you need to have better optics. So definitely have a form of marker that you're looking at, how you feel, and also a quantitative marker to make sure the decisions you're doing are heading in the right direction or not. So pre-workout, let's cover it again, just as reinstate. You may now protein nice and consistent throughout the day. Now, if the goal is a little bit more fat loss, you may have a little bit lower carbohydrate intake. If it's more towards a performance side, you might have a little bit higher, but that's always going to be client specific. Fats, we don't want anything that's going to, sit in the digestive stomach too long, or have to break down too long in the stomach and in your intestines. So just make sure it's easy absorbed. We want the energy there, and we don't want too much digestive stress. We want it there for a reason, to support our workout. Now, during the workout as well, you get into the intra-workout stage, right? So during the workout, what can we do to optimize? Now, this part here as well will depend on the goal. There's supplementation, and it'd be now with the intra-workout window. Very rarely would you want to be sitting down and eating, sweet potato, rice, chicken while working out. I mean, if you've got time to do that in between sets, something's happening, right? Something's wrong. So yeah, and you shouldn't be thinking about doing that while working out anyway. So during the intra-workout window, supplementation can be a great tool to enhance performance, recovery, buffer lactate, if you will, so you can get a little bit more reps out, a little bit more sets, a little bit more performance. Now, there are certain things we can use here, whether it's creatine monohydrate, BCAAs, EAAs, which are basically amino acids, proteins. There's things like carbohydrate powder. Now, what dictates using those things, once again, comes back to the goal you're trying to achieve. If you are someone in a building phase or a hypertrophy phase, you may want the carbohydrate powder to have more performance during training, which can carry over to refueling your nervous system glycogen storages due to the energy demands of that workout. Once again, supporting the building process of building muscle. It has a protein sparing effect as well. So, including some carbohydrate, there's different forms of carbohydrate powder, but including some carbohydrate powder during your workout may be extremely beneficial. If it's more towards, fat loss that you're chasing, it may not be as beneficial. So you either may not need as much or none at all, right? Because we are looking at tapping into those fat storages. Now, mostly tapping those fat storages. Do understand there's always an overlap. You will be tapping the fat storages even by having the carbohydrate powder, but you may want a little bit more. So once again, I'll keep reinstating it so you don't think just black and white. There is a scale, right? There's always a scale. Now, the other thing is you could use, amino acids at that point. So for instance, some clients, will work out really early in the mornings. Okay. They haven't had any protein sources while they've been sleeping. Okay. Like I said, every 3 to 5 hours, we want some amino acids coming. They've been sleeping. They haven't eaten. They'll get up early in the morning, go to the gym. Now they may not want, a big heavy meal at that time, or protein shakes. Digestively, it just doesn't sit well because they're getting up, going there. Using forms of amino acids, usually what I would recommend is essential amino acids, which is the 9 of them that can aid, performance, recovery, protein synthesis. Using that supplementation may be more beneficial. All right, so you can still have a fantastic workout, have a little bit of material there to make sure we're not going too much into breakdown. All right, so amino acids can be used there to support that process too, for performance and also recovery, and also once again to make sure we're getting the building of the tissue that we're trying to create. Now, understand they are interventions, there's other supplement interventions as well that you can use to support that process. Okay, now once again, there's a difference on the supplementation you would use, whether you're just using 2 ends of a spectrum, trying to lift heavy for 1 rep max powerlifting kind of style, versus someone who's trying to, do higher reps, paired sets, higher extended sets, circuits, etc. There's different supplementation that you can use to support that process, whether it's trying to buffer lactate acid, whether it's trying to get more blood flow to the muscles, whether it's trying to actually enhance your nervous system to lift a bit heavier. There are certain supplements you can use in that window to improve and support those stimulus. Then if we move to the end, we are now going to look at the post-workout. Now, a simple way I usually like to structure it when I'm optimizing things for clients is 80% of your carbohydrate intake is around the training window. So just think most of your carbohydrate intake is around the training window. That's going to be, before training, during training, and after training. We're going to eat most of our carbs. Now, even in that framework, that breakdown there, we may have a little bit or minimum carbohydrates pre-training. Then we may have a little bit or minimum during training. And then at the end of the workout will be where we get most of that 80% carbohydrate intake to fill in the rest, right? And the reason for that is basically training is stressful. We're going to raise stress levels. Cortisol is going to be a little bit higher. We want to knock that down a little bit as well. We want to replenish glycogen storage. We want to, recover a little bit quicker too. And we're going to be sensitive after that point in terms of using blood sugar, glucose towards our muscle cells, which is what we want. So we can put a little bit more carbohydrates post-training there, and we can support, once again, that process of, repair basically, and adaptation, which is what we want to do. We stress, recover, and we adapt. So I like to put, if anything, most of the carbohydrate intake for the day in that training window, and mostly of that carbohydrate intake is going to be post-training. I'll cover the types of carbohydrates that you can use, but do understand that everyone's client specific. I have had clients, eat a ridiculous amount of food, including pancakes every day, maple syrup, lollies, sometimes chocolate milkshakes. Now, is that for everyone? No. Okay. Some people can't do that. I personally can't do that. And it's rare and few sometimes that I see that as well with the, like I said, those types of foods, but they can tolerate it well. It goes where we want. Okay. And it's a way to get a little bit more intake of carbs in during that window. Okay. So do understand, you need to work out what works for you with the types of food. Everyone's a little bit different. Once again, we don't want anything that causes too much inflammation in the digestive system, too much digestive load or stress. That is going to impact your progress. So you need to eat the right types of foods. You can have, simple sugars. You can have complex carbohydrates, but do understand there is always going to be an amount that may be too excessive or not good for you. So everyone's a little bit different in that process. Okay. So types of foods post-training, like I said, this is where sometimes in some cases clients can, more simple sugars, like I said, chocolate milk, pancakes, etc. But then too, is usually as a baseline as well, there'll be more the complex carbs, whether that's white rice, potato, white potato, etc., sweet potato, whatever digestively fits well. Now, we've covered carbohydrates, so a little bit before a minimum pre-training, depending on your specific goal. Remember, there's a spectrum between performance, fat loss, etc. During training, we can get a little bit, once again, depending on your goal, whether it's more performance, muscle building, or if you're in a fat loss phase, maybe the minimum side of carbohydrates, amino acids there to support the EAAs, to support the process. Plus, I haven't covered too much into the other ones, but creatine monohydrate is fantastic for performance, regardless. And then you may have, there's things like citrulline malate, beta alanine. There's a few things you can do there. And then we move into the post-workout window, which is, where I recommend that we get most of our carbohydrates coming in, that 80%, we're going to fill in the rest towards the end there. And I also recommend another protein serving. All right. And probably minimum fats at this point. You may have a little bit, but minimum fats at this point, because once again, digestively, we don't want to cause, too much issues, too much inflammation, too much digestive load while we're recovering after that session. All right. You can get your intake later on in the day. Another good tip as well is a talk on caffeine. This is something that comes up a lot, whether it's with, supplementation of pre-workouts, or whether it is with, coffee. Now, caffeine itself is fantastic for pre-workout, can be fantastic for actually moving some fat cells around, oxidizing as well. I recommend to have it pre-training, but once again, you got to be smart throughout the day when you have it. I don't recommend caffeine too much post-training, though sometimes those that train early in the morning, they will get it in afterwards. I get that. Just understand it may not always be the best, because caffeine does raise cortisol, raise stress levels a little bit, and we're trying to down-regulate stress after we train. But however, pre-training, pre-workout, it can be absolutely fantastic to fire you up a little bit more. Once again, get you ready, warm, ready for the session. It can be a fantastic tool to have a much better workout. Once again, then leading to another box that's ticked towards a better outcome. Now, do keep in mind when I say caffeine, I'm not talking about adding full cream milk in or anything like that. Usually what I recommend is, short black, long black coffee. All right. If you get too crazy with the sugars and the milks and stuff like that, that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about just caffeine intake. So do keep in mind, caffeine can be, have a positive influence, but you do have to keep in mind as well. I know I keep saying keep in mind, but I want to make you aware that anything in excess is bad. There is an amount of caffeine that will make you have high anxiety, probably not perform the best, feel sick. Do be aware that, I was going to say, keep in mind again, I think I've said that way too much. Do be aware that there is an amount that'll just throw you off. So you need to be smart with that amount. Everyone has a different tolerance as well. For myself, I can only have, usually one long black a day and then a short black after that. And that's it for me. Everyone has a different tolerance. So we've covered the training window there. Now, if you are someone who's looking for more endurance output, you may have more carbohydrate intake, okay, because you've got a very different stimulus. Whereas once again, if you are someone, lifting heavy reps and that, you may have lower because your energy demands on that system is just not as high. So you need to know exactly what you're trying to achieve. But I'm going to stress this again: track your progress. Make an intervention, whether you're doing, but then track it. Do you feel better in your session? Do you have more performance? Do you have more pump? Is that carrying over, more so importantly, towards the outcome that you're looking for? Are you losing fat a little bit quicker? Are you gaining muscle a little bit quicker? Has it had a positive outcome? There's no use just making these changes and then not measuring them. And I see that a lot. A lot of people will just look at the supplementation side of things, do it, but then, just take it and not really, they get a buzz or something like that, but that's it. That's the outcome. But really, are you chasing more fat loss? Or are you just chasing a hit? Are you just chasing a buzz during your workout? Like, just be clear of what you want out of it. You can definitely measure and track. And that's what I'm absolutely big on, is the optics side of things, to know if it's actually working or not. It can be a waste of money, waste of time. It can actually make you regress instead of progress. So make sure you track over time. And then, once you get better tracking the metrics, you can make better decisions, which equal better results. All right. One thing for sure is that what I find is that, people just may not be good at decision making. Simple as that. But that's because they don't have enough information there to make a decision. All right. So try to get a bit more information there to make sure you can make the best decision as well, with your own personal performance. So look, that's just a little bit of a overview here on, what we can do nutrition wise to enhance the workout, enhance your goals, but do understand as well the foundation, the bread and butter of everything has to be down there. Good behaviors, good values, good habits with the plans you're following, abiding by the principles, whether it's energy deficit, maintenance phase, or a surplus. You need to abide by these principles, and then you can tick these other little boxes as well. And they will speed things up. Okay. From experience, it can enhance your workouts, can enhance your body composition progress or physique progress by ticking these other little boxes as well, right? And like I said, the game is about ticking as much boxes as you can to speed up the results and get the best results. That's what it's about. And that's why we track those variables that need to be ticked and keep that accountable to. So guys, I do hope you've got some value out of today's episode. If there's anything else you would like to discuss, whether it was in this chat here, in this topic, or you want to dive into further than that, please, you have more questions, please let us know. You can send us a message or an email to management@mindperformancehealth.com.au. You can also check out our website, www.mindperformancehealth.com.au. We have a lot of things there. We've got our blog, podcast is up there as well, testimonials for clients. There's a lot of information there for you to learn. And obviously you can book a discovery call with my team to see if we can help with your own body composition goals. Remember, we specialize with everything body composition, physique improvements. We're here to help with the accountability, the support side of things, filling all the attention to details, once again, to tick as many boxes as we can towards your result. That's what we do. So you can book a call through that website with my team. And then other than that, just let us know if there's any other topics you would like to discuss and uncover, where I think, we can only help. And the way I want to help is by knowing what you need help with. So do let us know, and then we can dive into other topics that may be beneficial for you. Okay, especially if we have the experience with it. That's the most important part, is everything I talk on isn't just coming from a study or something like that, right? It's coming from experience as being a practitioner, measuring clients' results and working with a hell of a lot of clients and achieving solid results with clients over the years. So it all comes from experience. Okay, so hopefully with my experience, you can learn from my wins and my mistakes and everything in between. So you can save time and achieve the results that you're looking for as well with your health, fitness, performance, and your body. So guys, thank you for tuning in. Once again, if you have any questions outside this, always can please let us know. And I hope you have a fantastic day.